Hello, welcome all, Normal Player Guy, and I am timing this video quite nicely. We have it just in a few days, the tournament, and this will be a nice video for those who are looking for the best setup for the tournament. What's your ideas? What teams are you running? What tips? What are the tactics? Now, I'll quickly show you the team that I use because this is very laborious, right? It's boring to hell. I always just say, get your 30 million and then just end. Because if you're going to get somewhere between 30 and 40 million, you finish off all the missions and you're likely to get a copy of the new LR. You don't need to smash the game to get two copies of the LR from the first off. It's out for like the next 7 or 8 rotations of this tournament. That's a couple of years, and of course everyone then realistically should get it. The team I mainly run is, I think, this team. So I mainly run this. By the way, this site is the Dock and Battle Optimizer. Fantastic site, by the way. I'm able to showcase the whole string of teams. So I would mainly run physical Broly along with Turles, LR Broly, and then these two in particular. Boo, just because he's on full power, but also because he's an orb changer for either Broly. If you don't have LR Broly, you can have this Dokkenfest Broly. And if you don't have him, you can have the physical DBZ Broly from the movie, one of the first Brolys to come out, because he does multiple attacks. I know each one can add to his crit chance. I mean, basically, it's kind of the same deal, right? So if you don't have the LR, you can go for this. If you don't have this, you can go for the physical one. Otherwise, you'll have to try and best and throw in whoever you can. A good alternative would actually be this particular Frieza, right? Because he's an AoE. So that is something. The reason I choose this is now this will be his first tournament after this guy gets his easy A. So he's going to hit way harder. He's got a full 170%, right, to movie boss and full power. So everyone, including the likes of this guy, will hit extra little bit harder. Because previously, was he 150? He was. The attack was still the same, but HP and defense. So you ain't going to. Oh, full power, sorry. Full power. Yeah, okay. So attack, not really too much then it seems, but it just means you have that extra little bit. More importantly, it's just he's going to have so much more attacking power, and he still is an AOE, so that's really good. You factor in Turles. Turles is a great support as well, giving attack and key fantastic rotation. You don't really need to use items. The way to get around this is to prevent the enemy from hitting you, because obviously the friend, their leader skill doesn't trigger. So everyone just rocks this Broly. That's all you have to do. Now, you'll be surprised that I use these two. And these two, they have a very specific reason. A lot of veteran players will know precisely how these work out. But I will start with one of them because I like the fact that it's called unexpected use. And it is unexpected use. Now, his the passive is may stun all enemies. How it works out is you are guaranteed once only. First time he pops out for the entire battle, he will stun all the enemies once only. That's it. It may stun all enemies is it. That's it. Once that turn has come and gone, you'll never stun the enemy ever again. So what it means is because you only need one rotation, you could get a rotation off these two with one of these, and that's it. If one of these is on rotation for every new battle, then you can feel free to put them wherever you want. This guy should now clear the board. This guy should definitely clear the board, and even this guy has a better chance of clearing the board. And he's an orb changer for this guy. If you don't have his easy A, then he won't get the extra key per because he gets what he gets like it's like 6 key or something like that against Pure Hybrid Saiyan. It's ridiculous, right? So you're pretty much guaranteed a super because most people do run that. And of course, if you don't have him easy aid, you got the orb changer to back him up. You do have various items. You probably could get away with using the AGL to SDR orb item changes, but generally then you might have too many orb changes. With that one then in mind, you would then do his 18 key, and what you want is his 12. So between 12 and 17, because that's his AoE, he launches an additional super. That's another AoE. The only reason you would use his 18 key would be to take down the likes of like this guy or even this guy. These are the two scariest ones in the game because he has an AoE on his 18 key, though it's difficult to get. And this guy, same sort of deal. He has his AoE on his 12 key, right? An additional supers actually buff that attack. So it's quite monstrous. The good thing about these two, though, is I suppose the downside is that if you're running them, yeah, they don't link up really well. This particular LR would work against this one. He has guard, it's also an AoE, and if you happen to have both of these, legitimately you could run an Inhuman Deeds, no problem. You would have a little bit of key coming in, but you would probably need to prioritize orbs or have something that changes tech to ADL or int to tech, right? You would need something along those lines, or maybe the fruit of the tree of might to give everyone 3 key. I mean, this is the time to use said items, so feel free. But that would be a nasty combination, but not many people are going to run into that. And that being said, even if you do, the sheer fact that these two are on rotation, both of these, they may stun all enemies, just allows you just to have freedom, especially in the first phase. The first phase, this preliminary, is against 4 people. Well, 3 fights. There's 4 of you. There's 3 fights. Your health carries over. The rotations carry over. So make sure you have at least Chaozu or Jaco on rotation. Realistically, you'll want Turles on rotation as well, and then one of these two as a floater. All of these, well, outside of these two, Boo should be able to one-shot everyone on the preliminaries, even at the highest stage. Broly easily can, even against the likes of LR Broly. Broly can against the likes of LR Margin Vegeta and Vegeta and Nappa, right? It's only really when you get to the semi-finals and finals where their colossal health sticks in, and unless they crit, they ain't doing nothing. But again, you have these two, and you can save your Ghost Ushers. You can because normally you use a Ghost Usher or you double up on double Whis, and that's the only way to do it, right? I mean, even if you used a Baba, which removes their super attack, type disadvantage, or hell, even type neutral, because you don't run the stats of the guest, you just get slaughtered. Honestly, your health will be around 150 to 200,000, and they'll do that in a normal punch. It's ridiculous. So you need to use items, but this setup I found is the fastest. It's everyone has key, everyone has great support, everyone has reasonable links, and people are an orb changer, and then so you're not going to struggle for super attacks. And then Jaco and Chaozu will pop around. And yes, there's only one downside to using this team, even if you save the likes of even this team. The only problem is eventually you'll come across a rotation where you'll have both of them on. So when you have both of them on, you're not going to stun them for the next turn if someone lives, and you'll also come out with somebody who can only attack once. If this is like, for example, Turles, Jaco, and Chaozu, you're only going to kill one person off the field. You could then prioritize the next phase because you can cherry pick who you want. And then occasionally you'll have turns like this. You'll have an offensive rotation, but you'll have no Jaco and Chaozu. Now, often enough, 99% of the time, you are going to get hit first. So you're going to need to do something about it. On the hardest one, what was it, the 30 times multiplier, preliminary, you should be able to survive normals unless it's a super attack. So you could gamble, but outside of that, the quarters, the semis, and the finals, if you're going to get hit first, and there's a 99% chance you will need to use an item. That's the rare chance where those two come into play. Now that will happen. There's no way around that. Unless you just happen to go first. If you happen to go first and you're confident you could take them down in that go, then by all means, this is the time to use the items. More importantly, you want to use items up until you get 20 straight wins in a row. 20 straight wins in a row is the hardest one to get because that's where you get most of the mission rewards. You get tickets, stones, and kais. If you lose from then on out, it doesn't matter because you need to win for 20 times consecutively, 20 battles in total, and then of course get to 30 million points. Every million or so on gives you some rewards. So the hardest one is 20 straight fights. Once that's done, doesn't matter if you lose because you ain't going to lose any progress. It sucks if you lose on the final because that'll be a big chunk of points. How it works out as well is on the hardest difficulty, the level 30 multiplier, you get roughly from start to finish including perhaps the bonus objectives you can hit, those bonus people that are basically a free throwaway for a fight. You get around 900 to 950,000 based on how many bonus points you can pick up and how many bonus teams there were. 900 to 950,000 a pop. Factor in that you need, what, 30 million? You'll be running that around 40 times. So 40 times is roughly what you want to do. Each run through of the tournament takes you around 15 minutes, there or thereabouts, depending on how much you have to chase a particular opponent, because that is a bit of an arse to chase the opponents around. Sometimes they'll go right towards you, and then the next move they'll go far away from you, and it's weird. So you'll be able to do 3 or 4 of these per hour, and you need to do 40 of them. So it will take you a few hours, but it's over the entire weekend. Should have times. So this is what I think, and I'm pretty sure, in fact, most people do actually run this. Most of the enemies I come across have this exact setup, or even more specifically, they have the LR Broly. And remember, he's even more impressive if there's a Goku family member. What's funny is people can run like a Resurrected Warriors, or they could run an all Wicked Bloodline team, but the guest can be a Goku family member, Bardock, Gohan, Goku. It's usually like STR Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, STR Bardock, or STR Goku, right? And them just as a guest just completely screws over the team. So that's the most common one you'll get, and perhaps the most efficient and item less. However, I have seen a lot of people use this team. Some of my mates use this team and they swear by it. It's Resurrected Warriors with Broly at the end. See, I get it, but they're planning on using the 2 golden freezers as a defensive buff, as a defensive means. So they try and be greedy on items. Yeah, that's a thing. Suppose you could work. He's still going to have 90%, and this guy's still going to have 50%, no, 70%. Kid Buu, no doubt, can hit crazy hard. And Cell gets bonus key and attack on rainbow orbs. So he's easy to prioritize lots of orbs and maybe save a few rainbow. And he can just completely decimate. There is one advantage of this. This Cell is a tech and he's able to cope with the likes of Margin Vegeta. He will cope with LR Nappa, and he'll even cope with like Blue Vegeta or Turles. Because in the semi-finals and finals, Blue Vegeta and Turles, who are 170% leads for Movie Boss and Pure Saiyan, so it'll be a powerful team. He will have type advantage over these, and these right now are like one of the kings going, right? So it's something to use. People can use this. I have seen it, and I've come across my mates in battle with this. I personally, they do have to use items because they aren't really defensive. I mean, the freezers, the golden freezers, the AGL and the tech, they aren't offensive units and can't wipe the entire field out. No one there can, except for the Buu at the end, and he don't share much in the way of links. So it's a bit odd. And again, they're just prioritizing using orb changes to get this guy. Now, another setup I've seen is this. This guy's only got a 77% lead to transformation boost, but he's an AoE. This guy can seal and is an AoE, and this guy can stun and is an AoE. Right? You could get lucky because I think basically you're going off the seals and stuns because uh, because you're only running a small team. Chances are at some point in like the level 30 multipliers, you're going to come across people who can't like these can't take down. These will have type advantage over the likes of Broly, but this guy just isn't a powerful unit. This guy just isn't a powerful unit. So you will find people that will be still around. This guy struggles to take out Broly prior to his EZA, and he has type advantage. So they're relying on 3 AoE units, each of which can stun and seal, with Turles backing them up. And if that fails, you got these guys. All of these rotations, like this one and my one, they all suffer from the same thing. You could have Jaco and Chaozu on the same rotation, and they don't do nothing with this guy. Or you can have this rotation where you don't have Jaco and Chaozu to completely stun the enemy, and you can feel free to maneuver your people around. That's the only problem. There is a lot of great teams now. This will actually be Broly's first use since his EZA, and he is going to be crazy. You'll probably find the top 10, if it's for some reason, a lot of people use the Int LR Goku you get from Super Battle Road. If they don't use him, they use him. Like, he's the way to go. I have seen people use a full STR team, but that's not the way to go because you're going to struggle against Blue Vegeta, Turles, Margin Vegeta, and Nappa. Whereas this team in particular, this team, he doesn't suffer and he's had his Easy 8 and can kill either of them after his Easy 8. Him, especially if there's a Goku family member, he is going to be super effective against all types, not a problem. And this guy can even soften them up. If you have Jaco and Chaozu on, you have this guy and you have Broly, they'll only share Fierce Battle. But this guy can soften them up and this guy can finish them off. And you can make it so this guy goes in slot 3. So because like if there's a pure hybrid Saiyans, you're gonna get 6 ki. You're not gonna struggle. You're probably gonna guarantee to get 12 ki. So you only need one orb. And if he changes the lot, he could have the lot, get a big attack stat or best he can, and then you're going back to Broly, who just needs one or two, right? And then you'll probably find on the next rotation, then it's guaranteed you'll have one or two of these, so you're safe. And then you got Broly and Turles, so it just covers you. Whereas if you run the likes of the full STR team, it's not going to work. And if you run this, if you run these two, and then you got Boo, he's the only AoE on this, and Broly's not guaranteed because he doesn't have any links. Could be a problem. And this one, while there are great AoEs on this, they don't have the power to take him down. It is an efficient, key stable run, right? They can work well with each other. That's not a problem. They just lack in power. So I'd say that one realistically is out the question. This can be, but it's like Boo's powerful against one opponent, so is Cell, and so is this guy after his Easy 8. So you're not clear in the field. You want to get through, especially the preliminary, so quick because there's 3 fights and then you're chasing them. And it's horrible, absolutely horrible. And a lot of your items can go, especially depending on how your rotations work out. Like, say, if you get this rotation, depending on how it goes, you could, or maybe like one with Jaco, Chaozu, and Boo, you'd be going through an item pretty quickly. So this will be the best way around. It's useful to have these. These, by the way, are SRs, and they drop from summons. I don't know if you can get the likes of like Chaozu or something from the friend summon, but for sure they come from summons and are almost guaranteed in every one summon, right? So you probably have pulled this at some point in the past. If you have summoned recently for Golden Freezer and the likes, or maybe Gohan or Piccolo, you might have actually pulled this guy. It's quite common enough. If you do, save him. And if you pull this guy, save him. He's useful. Then we get to some of the big players. So we've gone through the teams and your tactics in terms of rotation. You got to keep a Jaco and a Chaozu on rotation alongside some AoE unit. And then you'd have some support and another linking partner as a floater. That way you're always guaranteed to have someone on and then someone off. You come across the big players. Since his Easy A now, he's going to put up more of a punch against what the AGL, powerful AGL opponents, and more importantly, are you going to come across like the STR units? Specifically, really, it's the likes of like STR Margin Vegeta, more importantly, Broly, and of course, Boo. A lot of people do use Boo. Remember, a lot of people run this team, this one, because they have Broly, right, and they have Boo. Or if you don't have him, you can have Vegeta, who would share a few links with Broly's, and he's also an orb changer, so it could work. So yeah, that's something that you get. But then you come across these big players. The problem with these players is you need the 18 ki to be colossal damage to all enemies, right? You need the 18 ki. Now he does have his Easy A that allows him to have +2, +2, and +2 in this, but +2 when there's a Bulma on the team, you ain't gonna run. +2 when there's a Kid Trunks on the team, likely not gonna run. And 2 ki and crit chance when there is an enemy who's Goku, you can get. More often than not, you'll probably get that just from the guest, right? You can have a better chance from that. That's fine. This you'll never see. You'll never ever see this, so that's fine. And of course, his links. He does have Over in the Flash and Shattering the Limit, but Over in the Flash is typically Super Saiyan 3. You ain't going to get that. I mean, we click on him, he does have Over in the Flash. If you want to run this guy, you could run a Super Saiyan 2 build. You could run Blue Vegeta for a pure Saiyan build. This guy, he has Royal Lineage is given 2 key, so that's fair enough. So you could run him. This is the main base guy. Him is running Royal Lineage. You're going to get 2 key. This will be what you start off with. He's a great support, and he does have Shattering the Limit, so you are going to get a bunch of key, so you could prop him up, and you are going to get Royal Lineage, so you'd have to run a Pure Saiyan / Vegeta family build, but it could be possible. Super Saiyan 2 build 170%, Blue Vegeta would be 170% Pure Saiyans, allowing you for a slightly broader roster. You could add a couple of Brolys in. When it comes to this guy, yeah, as I say, you could have him. When you run in him, you have got Shattering the Limit, and that'll probably be about it. I'm not really too sure of any orbs. I'm not really too sure of any support you can get. You could theoretically run this guy. He's great actually for his easy A as well. AOE, reasonably easy to super, pure Saiyans, so you could use him on a 170%. Like Boo and the particular AGL Final Form Freezer, he isn't really powerful enough to take them down. But like Boo and such, you could soften the blow as a floater, or you could have Jaco and Chaozu to stun. You got Broly, then you got this guy, and they could both just AOE and soften. So it's a really viable unit to go through. In order to use this unit effectively, you're probably going to need to use this LR. And if you don't have it, you'll be using orb changing items or key up items. So realistically, he's out of the question. More possible with the 170% lead for Vegeta family and Pure Saiyans. You can use this guy, but because the guest doesn't have any stats put into play. More importantly, it's also key as well. Key and attack is down. So while you can get some like over in a flash, you won't see this guy because he won't transform. You can get the likes of like Royal Lineage would be a good one. This guy would also give, I think he gives 2 or 3, he'd give minimum 2 key, probably 3 key, just in his passive to all allies, right? If it's based around superclass allies, this guy's out of the question. I'm not really too sure. In fact, let's click on him. So he gives 2 key. No, that's to himself. All allies. Yeah, okay. So it is all allies. Obviously, it's just stats. It's not even key. You don't even get any key. That's not even worth it. So I mean, you could use him just to trigger Royal Lineage. It's not even worth it. I take that back. So he'd be out of the question. It's not great, is it? This guy could be a good shout out. You're going to have Shattering the Limit and Royal Lineage does multiple attacks, but no super attacks, and he's not an AOE. But he could prop him up. You're going to trigger plenty of attacks, legendary power, Royal Lineage, Shattering the Limit. That's not going to be a problem. So you need his 18 key. That's the thing. If it's the other way around, you'll probably be fine. And unless you go out your way to pull a Bulma on, unless you go out of your way to put a Trunks Kid on, I mean, if that means you're building the team around him, then you'll be using Ghost Ushes, which you can save for difficult content when you come around to it. So realistically, he's out the question. Whereas it brings me back around to this would be the best team. They don't struggle for key. You're always going to find a Pure Saiyan on, so you're always going to have a tremendous amount of power out of this. You're not going to struggle for key. If anything, too much, especially if this guy's on rotation. I'd say 80% of the time, you're going to be super effective against all types with plenty of support. And there's been easy A's on them since. This entire team is titanic. Check out this guy. I mean, where is he? LR Broly. So LR Broly, you're going to be triggering plenty of attack. So that's 25% attack. That's going to be 45% attack. You'll never get this. And then you're going to get 50% attack, 5% defense, and 2 key. That's pretty decent. We checked this guy out. Which one is it? 5 key against the pure, 5 key, not 6, sorry. 5 key pure hybrid Saiyans. You will get this. And this, it's like 80% of the time you'll trigger it. It's absolutely unbelievable. So it's going to work well. Prior to the Easy A's, by the way, Broly was great prior to his Easy A. He still was quite powerful. He was still able to clear the field other than like the most powerful AGL, the most like even the Friend Summon Hercule or like Blue Vegeta, right? Oh, and of course LR Broly. Outside of the most terrifying ones, clear the field. So now it won't really be much of a problem. That's what I'm going to expect going into this tournament. Way more use of this guy, way more use of all these other characters. Jaco and Chaozu, I'm telling you, they're absolutely the way to go. I mean, unexpected use is literally this guy's point, right? He just stuns all the enemies. You can use him to clear a few orbs from the field, so you have a great line of path. Yeah, there's a couple of downsides by depending on rotation, but it it happens 1 in every 10. Honestly, 1 in every 10. And if you have to use an item like a Ghost Usher 1 in every 10, that's really not so bad. And again, you only have to use items just to secure 20 straight goes in a row. 20 battles, preliminary to final, 20 times. Who cares if you lose them? Doesn't matter. It isn't going to affect anything. You're still going to get all the rewards. As for the rewards, of course, we now have. Let's check on cards coming up. Yeah, we now have two new ones. One, as I say, one new local LR. Don't go crazy for it. Once you hit 30 million, you don't really get any extra rewards. There's no stones coming in. The missions only give you tickets. You're going to go through more stones than you get just to try and secure number one locally. And I guarantee everyone, a lot of the tryhards, a lot of the veteran players are going to smash the game. They're going to spam this so hard. They're going to go to like 100 million within a couple of days just to ensure they get number one. I'm telling you, I've done it before. I've done it plenty of times, and I tell you, it's not worth it. You get 30 stones from doing all of this, you're going to end up using 60. You get 20, you're going to use 40. I guarantee it's just not worth it. He's around for the rest of the year. The rest of the year, there's plenty of chances. Then he goes into the loot pool, which is impossible to get. But yeah, that's going to be it for this video. This will be tactics, teams, and tips to use in this. So you can use various teams. You can use transformation boost. Don't forget Easy A Cooler. Easy A Cooler, after his, because he's STR, could work on Broly's team. He could work as he could actually use him with the as a lead for the others. So you could use that fact, the second form freezer that I had on here, you could use him further down, take off one of these and stick him in, so you can have him. A full STR team would not be wise, but perhaps running a 170% Easy A STR cooler perhaps could be a nice viable option. Doesn't do an AoE though, but he could be a solid lead. So that is still a viable option. Let's not forget him. But yes, I won't go on too much more, but I really hope that this settles it. Remember, it's him, or remember, there are a few other Brolys, and including the physical DBZ movie boss Broly, right? Other than that, you should have all of these. I thank you very much for watching, and I hope some of you at least take this into consideration, and I will catch you all on the next video. Thank you.